my turn tonight to be late. Appreciate your time tonight. I want to take a couple minutes just to talk about a couple items. One is our Constitution. Everybody hear me okay back there? Can you hear me all right now?
Yes.
All right. We got a state constitution, a federal constitution. I take them literally. We don't need interpretation by the courts. This is the supreme rule of law in our country. Thank you. If you haven't, sorry for anybody's a lawyer in here, but if you haven't read this, go online, get a copy and read it. Share with your friends. I don't blame anybody but us for being ignorant. I blame myself. That's why I'm running for office. As we have personal responsibilities. And I don't know if I have my glasses. Hang on one second. I'm really prepared. Guess what? Nope, I think I got them. Don't have the first part of the Constitution memorized yet, but I'm working on it. Hang on. Age has its disadvantages. All right, here we go. The preamble of the Minnesota Constitution says, we the people of the state of Minnesota, not the federal government, not the state, but the people of the state of Minnesota. Grateful to God. Now remember, this is written in 1857. They actually acknowledge that there's a God. For our civil liberties and for our civil and religious liberty and desiring to perpetuate its blessings and secure the same for ourselves and our children. I paraphrase, or I modified that word. It's prosperity. Posterity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution. The Bill of Rights, Article 1, Section 1. This one more paragraph. The object of government for Minnesota. The government is instituted for the security, benefit, and protection of the people, in whom all political power is inherent. You don't have to interpret that. It's very clear. We are the government. Together with the right to alter. That means we the people have a right to alter government. Not the government, but we the people. To modify and reform government whenever required for the public good. We the people make those decisions, not the people in the state capitol, not the courts, not our military. And every one of these institutions, our legislative leaders, our congressional leaders, our judicial leaders, our military, the president, they all swear an oath to what? Only one thing, this Constitution. We've allowed them to stray from this document over the last 10 years. My wife loves reading books. She's reading about presidents, and she reads to me. And I have to say, it's a sad historical when you go back and read the history of how we got to where we are today with government out of control. But we've let it happen, and we have to stop and take it back. And we have the authority, unlike anywhere else in the world. These documents give us that authority. We don't have to ask government. And I love going to city council meetings and listen to people say, please to the city council. I don't have to say please to the city council, and you don't either. You don't have to say please to the Congress because they work for us. And they forgot that, and we let them forget that, and we have to take that back. So anyway, that's my constitutional speech. One other thing too, our founding fathers, and I'm practicing this, so you have to bear with me. I'm still working on this part of it. Our founding fathers were real smart. I just watched the History Channel not too long ago. Our founding fathers are dope smoking, alcoholic, whoremongering, terrible people. They did a pretty good job, I would say, making our Constitution and starting a government, if that's what they had. So maybe, I jokingly say maybe our leaders should try that themselves, because apparently we had a good government that got started out of that. That's not true, but that's what the history is telling us now. Our founding fathers set up two things. They set up the civil responsibility and your personal and spiritual responsibility. The two things that I grew up being told I could never talk to anybody about in public was, one, politics, two, religion. What's the two things that matter most in your life? Politics and religion. Go home and think about that tonight a little bit. What happened to us? How we got where. But our founding fathers set up the government. It clearly says in the federal constitution that the government is not to infringe on the religious liberty of its people. That means the government stays over here. And we have a spiritual responsibility to keep ourselves in check, morally, ethically, and get involved in our church and our community that way. And that's the purpose of us. If I have a brother who has a need, I don't go over here to the government and say, write out a check to help my brother. I go like this. I take the money out of my back pocket and reach out and help my brother. I don't depend on government. A lot of Republicans are depending on government to help their brothers and everybody else. And we're wrong. Our founding fathers clearly understood the responsibilities that we have. On the civic side, I have a responsibility to run for office, participate. You have a responsibility to give, get involved in politics, give money to your candidates or whatever you decide that you need to do, but to be involved. We haven't done that. We haven't taught our kids to be involved in the political process. So as a result, a few people have taken over with agendas. You need to have people with convictions and principles in office that are going to say this Constitution is supreme to my opinion. And I'll give you an example. In the Minnesota State Constitution, it says that the state will not spend money on private schools that teach religious instruction. It's right in there. I don't like it. I think it sucks, but that's what's in the Constitution. You won't find me at the state capitol endorsing, what are those? They give vouchers. You won't see me supporting vouchers in public in the school settings because the Constitution clearly prohibits it. If we want to change the Constitution, I'm all for putting on the ballot, changing the Constitution so you can have vouchers. I'm all for that. But right now the law is very clear. And what we got is everybody on the state capitol, they're against everybody else on principle except themselves. We have to get people in office who are going to say, even if I don't like it, this is what the law is and I have to obey it. Thank you. I thought you all fell asleep on me there for a minute. What I'm saying tonight isn't popular, and you're not going to find it with most of the candidates running for office at state and federal level, because it's not a popular message, but it is the truth. We got two choices. We can either continue down the path we're going, and we aren't going to be here much longer as a country. You can talk to people, economists, and talk to anybody else. You can't keep doing what we're doing and expect to be the greatest nation in the world. And the reason we're the greatest nation in the world is because we held the principles that we're not holding to anymore. That's one choice. To ignore it, or do something about it. So what are you guys going to do tonight? Support your candidates. Mona, raise your hand back there. I'm putting a plug in for myself now. That's my campaign manager back there. Hon, would you stand up for so everybody can see you? This is my beautiful bride who puts up with me. She's a saint. She always tells me, what are you getting to next? And now we're into this campaign. Anyway, by state law, you give $99.99 to a candidate this year. You can all write out a check for $99.99 to CCCR, because we got $43 in our checking account right now. We need about $3,000 or $4,000 in the next couple of months to beat a bunch of things. We're running a full campaign. We got a lot of expenses, but you can write out a check if you're really serious about it. And if you don't have a job, forget it. I don't want your money. If you got a job, go write out a check for $99.95, something like that. Anyway, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.